In this class, we're going to talk about inequality. We're going to go over what is meant by inequality, the types of inequality, example of inequality, and the most common inequality. Okay, so let's start with the big question. When you hear the word inequality, what is meant by inequality in mathematics? The relationship between two values or expression that are not equal is what we call inequality. Are you paying attention? Are you paying attention? Okay. In inequality, symbols are used to represent the relationship. For example, when we are dealing with maybe let's say in our last class in our previous class we talk about algebraic expression, and you will find something like 3x plus 2 equals to 2x plus 1, and you can see that this one is not inequality, this is equality, because the connection between the linear equation that I have in the left hand side and the right hand side is equality sign. You understand? So here we are dealing with inequality in an attempt to represent the relationship that exists between two or more variables that are not equal. You understand? We make use of inequality. Now, what are the most common signs of inequality? The most common inequality include the greater than sign. The greater than sign. Okay? Greater than. We have the greater than sign. This is the greater than. Greater than. Okay? And the second, we have the less than. Then we have another sign known as the greater than or equals to. Kindly note the way I wrote those signs, okay? Less than or equals to. Okay, greater than or equal to. Greater than or equals to. Now, the fourth sign is the less than or equals to. Less than or equals to. You can see. So these are the common signs that we make use of in inequality. You see, let me give you a tip. When you are dealing with this topic, you understand? Look at your right arm. If you look at this is my right arm. You understand? The right arm signifies greater than. This is greater than. You understand? Just like you do your arm like this. This is greater than. Now this is less than. Okay. Now this is greater than or equal to, and this is less than or equal to. You understand? So maybe you can use that analogy to remember that your right hand is the greater than when you do your hand like this. So this is how greater than will look like. So if I turn like this, you can see that this is how it look like. Okay, greater than, you can see, less than your left hand, then greater than or equals to, you put a bar at the beneath the greater than sign, then less than or equals to, you put a bar beneath the less than side. Okay. Now, having known the most common signs used in inequality, what are the types of inequality? We have the linear inequality, we have the quadratic inequality, and we have the rational inequality. Okay. Before we delve into calculation, let's look at example of inequality in real world. Okay. Let's say you are performing a science experiment. Are you paying attention? You are performing a science experiment. Then you want to express mathematically that the temperature today is less than 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, I just take that, just use that as an example. Forget about experiments now. Okay, let's say you want to represent this mathematically. The temperature today is less than 20 degrees Celsius. Now, how do you express that mathematically? Do you know that statement has an inequality words, and that word is less than? You understand? So let's say T is for temperature. I want to teach you how to interpret inequality question now. Are you paying attention? That is why I cite this example. Okay. The temperature today is less than 20 degrees Celsius. Now, look at this. Let's say T is for temperature. T is for temperature. Now, if I want to interpret that statement, that means that T, the temperature today, is less than, what is the sign for less than? This is the sign. You can see this is the sign for less than. So this is the sign for less than, your left hand. Here, less than 20 degrees Celsius. You can see now. So that is the interpretation. Okay. So let's have another example. I'm giving you a real world example now. Let's say you want to interpret the statement mathematically. The height of the bridge must be greater than or equals to 30 meters to allow the ship to pass. Now, I want you to represent that mathematically using the symbols that we've learned earlier. I want you to represent that mathematically, okay? Now, let's say H is the height. H is the height. Okay, so H is the height of the bridge. Now, the statement said the height of the bridge must be greater than or equals to 30 meters to allow the ship to pass through. Now, greater than or equals to, which of this sign is greater than or equal to? This is the sign. So, if you want to represent that, you are going to have H must be greater than or equals to 30 meters. You can see. So that is the interpretation. You can see that in this or in the two statements, we are not given an inequality condition. You understand? So that is it. Okay, let's have another one. The weight of the luggage must not exceed 23 kilograms. The weight of the luggage must not exceed 23 kilograms. That means that the weight of the luggage might be equals to 23 kilograms, but it must not exceed. That means it might be less than or equals to 23 kilograms, but it must not exceed 23 kilograms. So what is less than or equals to? The sign for less than or equals to is what? Is less than with bar. So if I'm to represent that mathematically, I'm going to have, if W is the weight of the luggage, W is the weight of the luggage. You understand? Okay? Now, if I'm to represent that mathematically, I'm going to have the weight of the luggage must be less than or equals to 23 kilograms. Let me check. Yeah, it's 23 kilograms. So you can see how I'm interpreting the statement. Okay, so I want you to try this. I want you to try this question. The company needs to make at least $10,000 in profits this quarter. The company needs to make at least $10,000 in profit this quarter. Okay. Now, how do you interpret that question? I want you to try it. I'm going to give you the solution. Try it, okay? And check your check your interpretation. Maybe you are correct. Okay. Now let's say P $10,000 in profit. Let's say P is the profit, okay? Now, we are told in the statement that the company needs to make at least $10,000. That means that if the goals of the company is that they have to make at least, that is, at the least amount of money that they need to make is $10,000 of profit in this year. That means that they can make more than $10,000. Are you paying attention? The company can make more than $10,000, but it must not make less than $10,000. Hence, that sign that the inequality is going to take is greater than or equal to. Are you paying attention? So here, the profit must be greater than or equals to $10,000. Okay. So you can see the real world application. That is the interpretation. Okay. So having learned how to interpret, let me give you mathematical statement. Write this: x is greater than y. Write that expression: x is greater than y. That is simple. You're going to just have x is greater than y. Okay. Now the height of Bola. I'm giving you examples now. Okay. You know, by practicing more examples and learning how to interpret inequality question, you'll be able to solve question before we delve into work example. Okay. Bola is taller than how do you interpret that question? the height of Bola is taller than Audu. So if I'm to represent that, T, the height of Bola's height is more than that of Audu. So you can see now, so those are examples of real life inequality. So having understood what is meant by inequality and the interpretation and the most common signs that we make use of inequality, let's talk about linear inequality. Okay, what do we mean by linear inequality? Linear inequality refers to an inequality that involves a linear expression. You understand? Please kindly pay attention. Okay, linear inequality is an inequality that involves a linear expression. Linear inequality. An inequality that involves a linear expression is what we call linear inequality. What are linear expression? An expression that the power of the unknown is not greater than 1. You know, when we are dealing with linear equations, I took time to explain what is meant by linear and others like that, okay? So you shouldn't find this difficult to comprehend. When we talk about linear inequality and a linear equation connected by inequality sign, that is what we call linear inequality. Are you paying attention? So an inequality that involves a linear expression is what we call linear inequality. Are you paying attention? See, in linear inequality, the signs, okay, the reason why we call this topic inequality is because of the presence of these signs. You understand? So you're not going to find equals to sign. Are you paying attention? You can have greater than or equals to, but equals to sign standing alone in an equation, that equation is not inequality. Are you paying attention? So that is it. Now let me give you some examples of linear inequality. We have 2x plus 3 is greater than 7. 2x plus 3. Example is 2x plus 3 is greater than 7. You can see that in this inequality, you can see that the inequality sign is what? Is greater than, okay? Oh, it's not, let me just start with, I just want to identify that this sign is greater than. Now, another one is 4y minus 5 is less than or equals to 11. 4y minus 5 is less than or equals to 11. So the inequality sign in this statement is what? Is less than or equals to, you can see. Now another one is negative 3x plus 2 is greater than or equals to negative 4. Okay, negative 3x plus 2 is greater than or equals to negative 4. So these are examples. You can have more than one, you can have many examples. Just think of more example and drop it in the comment section. Okay, think more example and drop it in the comment section. I'm going to check. So these are examples of linear inequality. You can see that in these examples, you discover that the highest power of the unknown, the highest power of the variable here is what? Is 1. For example, the unknown in the first inequality is what? X. And you can see that the highest power of this unknown is 1. So that is why we call it linear inequality. If it is quadratic inequality, the highest power of the unknown will be 2. Are you paying attention? Just like a quadratic equation. Okay, so that is what we call this linear inequality. Okay, so I'm very sure that you understood what we've discussed. If you have any question regarding this, let me know in the comment section. Okay, now let us now look at how to solve problem on linear inequality. I'm going to give you some steps, okay, and I want you to pay attention. To solve linear inequality problem, you have to take this step. The first step is that you have to simplify the inequality by collecting like terms. Hello, you have to simplify the inequality by collecting like terms. The second is that you have to isolate the variable on one side of the inequality. Now, the variable in this inequality are the unknown that we have in the inequality. For example, in the first linear inequality, the variable is what? Is x. You understand? And in the second inequality, the variable is y. The third, the variable is x. You understand? So that is it. You have to isolate the variable on one side of the inequality. Then the third point is solve the inequality like an equation. Okay, don't worry. We are going to I'm going to give you an example. Okay, you just have to pay attention. Okay, you are going to understand. Now This is the fourth point. The fourth point is important and I want you to pay attention. If you are dividing by a negative number, the inequality sign needs to be reversed. Okay? If you are dividing by a negative number, the inequality sign needs to be reversed. Don't worry. Pay attention. Let's have some work examples so that you will know the application of what you have discussed. Okay? Now, let's start with, let's quickly solve these examples. We have the first is 2x plus 3 is greater than 7. Okay? Now, how do we solve this question? The first step is that we have to simplify the inequality by collecting like terms. You understand? So, if you want to collect like terms, you can see that to collect like terms here, you just have to move these 3 to the right hand side of the inequality. Are you paying attention? So, here I'm going to have 2x is greater than. Now, if this plus 3 crosses the equals to sign to the right hand side of the equation, I'm going to have 7 minus 3. Okay? So here I'm going to have 2x is greater than 4. Okay? Now, from this point, we can divide both sides by 4. So here I'm going to have, you can divide both sides by 2. So I'm going to have this divided by 2 and this divided by 2. So x, okay, let me just write it beneath. X is greater than 2. Okay, so that is the solution to the first question. You can see that using those steps, you will get this right. You will get the right answer. So if you get this as your answer, you are correct. Okay, let's move to question number 2. 4y minus 5 is less than or equals to 11. 4y minus 5 is less than or equals to 11. Now, how do we solve this inequality? The first step is to simplify the inequality by collecting like terms. You understand? Now, collecting like terms simply means adding those terms that are similar to themselves together. You understand? Now, you can see that negative 5 has no variable. It doesn't have any unknown. 11 doesn't have any unknown. So, they are like terms. So, here, I'm going to move this negative 5 to the right-hand side of the equation. So, I'm going to move this to this. Move this negative 5 to the right-hand side. Now, when you are solving this in the exam, don't draw this line, okay? Don't draw this arrow that I'm drawing. I am just, I want you to understand. That's why I drew the arrow, okay? Now, here I'm going to have, okay, let me use blue pen. 4y is less than or equals to 11 plus 5, because if this negative 5 crosses the equals to sign to the right hand side of the equation, the sign will change to positive. You understand? So that is why I have positive 5. And 11 plus 5 is what? 11 plus 5 is 16. So 4y is less than or equals to 16. Divide both sides by 4. This over 4, this over 4. Y is less than or equals to 4. You can see now. So that is the solution to that question. If you get this right, you are correct. Now, I want to attempt the third question. Attempt the third question and check maybe you get the answer correctly. Okay? Let's proceed. We have negative 3x plus 2 is greater than or equals to negative 4. Okay? Now, the first step is that we have to simplify the inequality by collecting like terms. What are like terms? Like terms in this inequality are plus 2 and negative 4. So, I'm going to take this plus 2 to the right hand side of the equation. So, I'm going to have, please pay attention. I'm going to have negative 3x is greater than or equals to negative 4, negative 2. You understand? Because, if this plus 2 crosses the equals to sign, the sign, which is positive, is going to change to negative. You understand? So, here, I'm going to have negative 3x is greater than or equals to negative 6. Now, I'm going to divide both sides by what? By negative 3. Okay? So, if I'm to divide both sides by negative 3, you remember that one of the instruction, one of the steps is that if we are dividing by a negative sign, the inequality sign needs to be reversed. Are you paying attention? If we are dividing by a negative sign, the inequality sign needs to be reversed. So, because I'm dividing by negative 3, I'm going to divide this by negative 3 and this by negative 3. Now, because I'm dividing by negative 3, the inequality sign needs to be reversed. So I'm going to have this negative 3. This negative 3 will cancel this negative 3. You understand? And, oh, sorry, this should be negative. And this negative 6 will cancel this negative 6 as well. So I'm left with what? X is, now, remember one of the steps. The last point that I gave you is that if you are dividing by a negative number, if you are dividing both sides by a negative number, as you can see, I'm dividing by negative 3. The sign needs to be reversed. So here, I'm not going to have greater than or equals to again. I'm going to have less than or equals to. Do you understand? So here, I'm going to have less than or equals to 2. You understand? Because negative 6 divided by negative 3 will give me 2. You understand? So that is why I have x is less than or equals to 2. So I'm very sure you understood what we've learned in this class. If you didn't understand, let me know in the comment section, okay? So that is the step to solve inequality problem, okay? So that will be all for this class. If you have any question regarding what we've learned in this class, let me know in the comment section. We're going to delve into more work example in our next class, okay? So see you in the next class. But before you go, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and share the video. You understand? Most importantly, please like and share the video, okay? But if you want to be part of this channel, you can consider subscribing. But please don't forget to like and share, okay? See you in the next class.